So thank you for listening to this special podcast. This is about a study, and the study is called "The Combat Path: Sustaining Mental Readiness in Ukrainian Soldiers." And the study focuses on the mental resilience of Ukrainian soldiers during the war against Russia, because since the full-scale invasion, more than 700,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been deployed to the front lines under extreme and prolonged combat conditions with impact. And the Ukrainian armed forces have developed a new program called Combat Path Debriefing. And I'm now talking to the author, and now maybe you can help me a little bit because otherwise I pronounce your name maybe wrong.
Oleh
So,
Hukovskyy. Oleh Hukovskyy.
okay. Can you give an introduction who you are and why you wrote this article?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Oleh Hukovskyy. Now I'm in the rank of captain. I'm basically a psychiatrist by training and body-oriented psychotherapist. And I joined military 2.5 years ago. But I had experience working with veterans and military since 2014. So um, I was just in parallel. I was getting a call from my commander, so I was should I respond or not? So I will parallel just write him a few words. So sorry.
No problem.
Operational situation. I was from the start of my service. I was like participating in some recovery activities in one brigade, and very fast I realized that we need some more or less structured group interventions to to make our communication more effective. Else, it's like in harsh experience, like communication get very emotional way and in very acting out way. When like debriefing interventions,
Yes.
and I create like my way of making debriefing, because units that we were working, they were collected from the people with very different experience, and they were like few months ago they were civilians, and now they get weapons and and start fighting. So they make very big transition in their lives and in their identity, and that's why I was using this focus on identity, on their narratives, on their initiation, in how, and I include this in the debriefing model. So the main framework for the debriefing was time-based debriefing that I learned from Emmy Adler and other US folks. But then I shape according to my needs and according to the context that we were fighting. For example, like also we have, of course, a lot of casualties and losses. So I pay enough attention to the grief, and at least not like ecologically. I was trying also to work a little on the grief, if it appear naturally.
Yeah.
And narrative part is the most
Because Oleh,
different
can I
part
ask
from
you?
other types. Yeah,
Can
please.
I ask you first one question? So this combat path debriefing has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And when before you walk us through the steps, when is it used? At what moments it is used?
Like when I was using, because it's not like I create something and it become spread among all Ukrainian army. Like we have 1 million soldier, like 1 million army, and a lot of psychologists with very different backgrounds. So I shared my experience, but probably I could make it more visible for my unit, where I was serving. So the most I think the most effective time where it can be used, it's a first contact of like military, when military psychology first time contact the unit. So because you are outside person and then you come to the unit and you don't know nothing about unit, yeah, and what they gone through. And I think this is very good time to, like, there are steps, but I think the most appropriate time to use this type of debriefing is this first contact. Next contact can be also used, but you probably will like skip the beginning of the history of the unit, but you can, for example, if you will provide same sort of debriefing like in 2 months or in 1 month, so probably you will start count some events from the last time, not since the beginning of the formation.
Okay, great. Yes. And so, can you give an overview of the steps? Because I have here the steps. The first step is introduction, then you have the narrative, then you have reactions, then you have care strategies, and then the resetting. Can you walk us through the steps?
Yeah, I will try to make very short journey. So introduction was important part, because like I was civilian before, like, and when we meet first time with the soldier, like we found out that, okay, you were a civilian, what did you do, in your civilian life, and what skills did you get in your civilian life, and how these skills can be used in your military life. And I shared that, okay, I was like psychiatrist beforehand, or I was psychotherapist, and then uh, now I'm here, and my motivation is like this. What is your motivation? So these similarities in our transition from civilian to military life, it's also creates some trust and creates some good contact. So first phase introduction is for the establishing contact and establishing some trust.
Yeah.
Then narrative, it's usually like some fights. And I start to ask, how did you join the army, and tell me more about your unit, like what is the story behind your unit. And it's very, I remember it was very emotional part, because they were like, I was supporting, so they can, like telling the story pretty factual oriented, like, okay, this month or this date we were created, and like I was the first guy from this company, and then this guy joined, and we had some training, we have some fights, and it was very emotionally when they say about casualties, like we lost these guys, and then I pay attention to that, like what are the names, like glory to them. And when they start correcting each other, for example, like, okay, we had this fight in this city or in this town or village at that date, and then somebody say, no, it was another date, and then oh yeah, you're right, it was this day. And for them, that trauma usually it does not have time. There is no time in trauma when you have this traumatic memory. And this cognitive, like when they start like remembering things in order, they put
Yes.
events in order, and it creates narrative memory, so they can with support of each other, they can restore their common history, and
Yes. Yeah.
this, in my opinion, very important part. So they start create a common history, common identity,
Yeah.
common narrative, and it's for me, it's like they can use this as some sort of support, and
Yeah.
they can rely on this common history.
Yeah.
And then we have reactions, because they can, like, they go through different states, and moral injury, one of the very, very, very spread
Oh yeah.
state. Yeah.
Yeah. Moral
uh,
injury. Yeah.
uh, a lot of, so it's not only fear based, like acute stress, but a lot of um, like despair, injustice, sense of betrayal, because, and it's not like it's always like this, but you know we have a lot of untrained soldiers and untrained leaders, so of
Yeah.
course expectations are high, but sometimes leaders cannot follow the expectations because they didn't have proper training or selection, etc.
Yeah.
So reactions can be different, and depends on what reactions they will focus. Mostly, then I'm offering the care strategies. For example, if they have like
Oleg, can I ask you one question about the
most of them
reactions?
have insomnia.
Yeah. Can
What?
I ask you one thing about the reaction phase?
Yeah, please.
What is the goal of for you as a psychiatrist, or what is the goal of the debrief when you identify those reactions? What is the goal of that phase?
When I identify reactions for them, when they shared about their reactions, it make this normalization, so they understand they are not alone in their suffering, some suffering. For example, insomnia, who sleep well, nobody raise a hand,
No.
everybody sleep bad, but they don't share this with each
Ah,
other, it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
probably, sharing is weak. When you share, it's like sign of the weakness, but when it's in the group format, it's make them easy to share their experiences and see that they are not alone in their experience. So
yes,
this is very important. That's why I believe that group interventions are so important, that because militaries can heal through contact with each other, and our task is provide this environment and support
yes,
this healing framework,
yeah,
and they train together so they can heal together through this sharing. And
yes,
And then, for example, if they have insomnia, then in care, next step, care strategies, I use some exercise or some provide some psychoeducation about sleep management and about some exercise, how to get better sleep, and 1 2 exercises, because I'm body oriented psychotherapist. So like when they try it, so it's not like I am just saying, but we do some exercise and then they start sleeping. Some people start sleeping right, in the place, and it also create trust. So it's like immediate feedback, and it create trust to psychologists. It can create trust and give them some tools so they can use for self-regulate. Else they will self-medicate. Like Besser van der Kolk say, you self-regulate or you self-medicate.
Yeah.
And after that, we finish with some resetting, gratitude for their service, like appreciation, this recognition. So it's pretty good package of these interventions. And usually after debriefing, like soldier, they were too like much more friendly as they were before. So
Yes.
they were pretty open, and some of them ask for individual consulting. So
Yeah.
debriefing, it's not only as a treatment tool, but it's also for some sort of triage or uh, selection filter tool, like when you can make a group intervention, and after that an advertisement of psychological care, and after that you can have some deeper consulting in individual way.
Why are rituals so important? Because you talk about rituals in the article.
Yeah, because rituals, it shows, for me, rituals and traditions, it show the uh, for, I would say, team that is already formed. So working team, and if team creates rituals and traditions, for me, like, they don't need psychology so much, because they support each other by rituals and traditions. So
Ah,
they work on different stuff, like so there can be rituals about, being promoted, or getting new rank, or some medals, or they can have some rituals of when somebody comes from the combat, and then how they are accepted by others, or specific greetings, or so many forms of the rituals. But for me, it's mean that culture, like corporational culture, is pretty good. And
yeah.
then, it's self-sustainable stuff. So people
Yeah.
are more self-sustainable, self-supported than groups or units without rituals.
So
Cohesion.
yeah.
For me, it's also a sign of cohesion.
Yes, of course. So who is delivering? Who can deliver this combat path debriefing? Can everybody do it, or should it be psychologists, psychiatrists, or team leaders? Who can do this?
In my opinion, psychologists are the best for that, because they focus uh, on psychological care. So they use these tools, like care strategies. It can be also instructors, I think. Uh, Leaders, no, because leaders from they know the history of the unit. So it's like uh, maybe some adaptation of that debriefing can be used by leaders. And there is this type of, it's called leaders led after action debriefing. So it's like mix of after action review and debriefing. So leaders can pay attention to reactions, for example, after combat, and how to manage this reaction. But narrative part is best work for external witness.
Yes.
If I'm external witness, they tell me the story of their unit. But if you are internal leader, it does not make sense. But other steps can be used by leaders as well.
What did you learn as a psychiatrist about yeah, well, let's say it. What did you learn as a psychiatrist about being in a war, and what can our military learn from your experience with regards to combat stress and the debrief? What did you learn?
In my opinion, we should focus, and you should focus probably not only on acute stress reaction. Of course, it's important, and iCover is an amazing tool. But also we need to focus on acute stress disorder. So issues that last for, let's say, up to 1 month. We don't talk so much about PTSD because by the definition, we don't have post. So we mostly talk, me and my colleagues, we mostly talk about chronic traumatic stress or continuous traumatic stress, because it's ongoing set of events, and you are in the process of dealing with everyday stress and for a long time, and you have you stress for yourself, you stress for your family if they are in Ukraine because they are in danger as well. So chronic stress, acute stress disorder, concussions are very spread. Like most of the infantry soldier, they have concussions in a moment, and multiple concussions. So cooperation with neurologists is very important, and providing good diagnostic, good support, cognitive training. So it's not, for psychologists, should be not only, let's say, emotional oriented care, care oriented on emotions, but care oriented on cognitive functioning, and even now we have some new guys, and their team leaders say, yeah, they are lacking concentration, they are lacking this awareness. And I understand that this performance psychology, cognitive psychology, that can provide some training for cognitive skills, for your attention attention training. This is important. And moral injury. So what we have, we have this separation that some people, they voluntarily join the army, or even involuntary, but there are many who are try to avoid this choice, and it creates split and polarization in the societies. So if we are in the same boat, we need to to participate. Everybody need to participate, and maybe our system can be improved, provide more opportunities for some short-term contracts, because now we have a big part of the people who are mobilized, like me, that you cannot really, let's say, escape from the army. If you are even so, you need to be very hardly wounded, or having some mental issues, and then you will be diagnosed with PTSD, and then but you you have uncertain time of service. You
Yes.
don't know when service will be finished, and this create a lot of anxiety, like despair. Sometimes this, like, okay, this, I would say, I forgot the term, when you become like powerless because you don't have choice.
Learned helplessness. So
what?
learned helplessness.
Yes.
From
Yes. And like lack resources of recovery, and we have vacations, but like on third year of the war, like 30 days of vacation, usually it's not enough for recovery, so usually we have like 15 days, and then you just need to come back at home and just start fixing some home problems. So you don't really recover. You just fixing, not to let your family life and social life just be totally destroyed. And so some short-term contracts, like 1 year. Now we start having short-term contracts for 1 year, and with good payment for young people, so 18-24, because like obligatory service start from 25 in our case, and maybe, but again it creates some separation, like younger people who joined voluntary 2 years ago, they don't have the same bonus that younger ones, the young ones that join now, so it's so
complex.
Principle of justice should be preserved as much as
Can I ask you
possible,
one last question?
This really destroy morale,
Okay. Can I ask you one last question before letting you go?
I'm finished.
You're finished?
Say it again.
Can I ask you one question?
I finished with previous. Yeah, please.
So the question is, how can we here in Europe mentally prepare for this? For how can we mentally prepare for mental readiness? Can you prepare for this or not?
It's depends in which role. Like if you're military, probably you just perform your duty, nothing special. But like if there is a danger for threat for your country, so then I think the biggest worry for every soldier is his family, or her family, because we have 60,000 of female militaries now. It's the size of Australian army, and like training skills, first aid skills, like get some TACMED training. I think this is very important, and create more sense of safety inside, because we have new this morning, like in Venice. I think in Venice. So one guy was hit by knife on the street, and then Ukrainian military who was close to this event, and he had a tourniquet, so he just come and save the life, accidentally. So this how it should be trained. So you constantly prepare. You are always in. Remember, I cover. You're never in white zone. You constantly in yellow zone. So having tourniquet with you, like I'm wearing tourniquet always, and being maybe curious about acquisition of some military skills. Like you don't need to be I don't know, killer assault fighter, but some shootings, some topography, some orientation skills. What will you do if you will run out of electricity, internet, etc.? So how you can keep it was we had this before full invasion. It was like nobody was really sure, like, will it happen, but we have some even trainings on safety, like having some safe backpacks, at home, and some I don't know, enough fuel in your car.
Yeah.
And what you will do if it happens, because what I read some even years ago, like, there is a big percentage in some European countries that for male population, that they will not fight. Say, if somebody attack their country, they will just escape. Okay, it's also a choice, but like, it's always chance for escape is always limited, so where to escape. So, and some population in Ukraine, of course, it's escape. Female, it's normal totally, but some men also escaped. But so I think it's important to be honest with yourself, what position you will take, and what skills you need for this. If you will cooperate with your friends, let's say neighbors, and you will decide to resist, so what skills you need.
Yes.
So using even this possibility of threat, using for creating stronger bonds with your neighborhood, I
Yeah.
think it's important.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for your service.
You're
And
welcome.
yeah, I hope this will end in peace and for the best of Ukraine in these
Thank you.
yeah.
Can I make a short advertisement?
Yes, of course.
Because now I'm serving in Second International Legion. It includes fighters from like 30 countries, like, and they sign contracts. So in any, and you was asking what can we do. So if you decide, somebody of your listeners decide to join Ukrainian army, get some experience, feel get the taste of the war. Uh, we provide good trainings. We have amazing ethical leadership. I can compare. So I have experience of several units, so I can compare. It's amazing. So I really enjoy being here. And if you don't want to join, like, physically, you can always support us. We have constant needs, so like vehicles, fixing of the vehicles, starlinks and other stuff that is constantly, get broken, get injured, etc., and some medicine needs. So if you are curious, you can contact me. I can provide email, and I would be very grateful for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you also. I will end this record and I will say goodbye to you offline. So please stay with me. Thank you for listening. And I hope we all support these brave warriors for now and the future. Thank you for listening.